Okay, just picture this for a second. You wake up tomorrow morning, you're expecting the dawn, right? You probably check your phone just out of habit, but the sky never lightens. And this isn't just storm clouds. It's something totally different. So let's really dig into what that would mean.
I mean, it is a terrifying question, right? It sounds like something straight out of science fiction. But what would actually happen, according to the real laws of physics and biology, if our star just wasn't there anymore?
So look, we all know this can't really happen. Our sun is a super stable star. It's not like a light switch you can just flip off. But here's the wild part. Science can also predict with some pretty chilling accuracy exactly what would go down if it did. And that's the mystery we're going to dive into. All right, so let's walk through it. This impossible dawn. The very first effects, well, they'd hit us almost instantly. We're talking about changes that would reshape our world forever, and it would all happen in just a matter of minutes. The first thing you'd notice, it actually wouldn't even be the darkness. I mean, that's a given. No, the first thing would be the cold, an inescapable, rapid cold. Without the sun's constant warmth, Earth would start bleeding heat into space at a mind-boggling rate. We're talking about a kind of cold that makes the worst winter you can imagine feel like a warm summer day.
And believe it or not, those first few moments are just the beginning. From there, the collapse of our planet's systems would follow a grim and honestly, a pretty predictable timeline as that cold gets deeper and the darkness becomes total.
I mean, just look at how quickly it all cascades. In just a few hours, the surface of the planet starts to freeze. A few days go by and photosynthesis, the engine of pretty much all life on Earth, it just stops, dead. And then, a few weeks in, our whole global communication network starts to flicker out, as every single one of our solar-powered satellites fails.
And this is really where you see how everything is connected, like a house of cards. No photosynthesis. Well, that means oxygen production just craters. The entire food chain unravels, starting from the very bottom. Yeah, our cities might glow for a little while on backup power, but that's not going to last. Eventually, they'd go dark too, falling into that same cold, silent blackness.
Okay, but what about us? What about the human element in all this? As the last bits of humanity struggle to survive, maybe deep underground near geothermal vents, the physical threat, well, it'd be matched by a psychological one that's just as terrifying.
And what's so crazy is we don't even have to guess what that mental toll would look like. We actually have real-world data from researchers in polar regions. It shows that those long, sunless months have really profound effects on the human mind. Depression, paranoia. Now, imagine that, but with zero hope of a sunrise. Ever again.
So, in that kind of cosmic pressure cooker, our belief systems would just shatter. When you're faced with extinction, with something that just defies all logic, humans do what we've always done. We create stories. We have to, just to make sense of the fear.
You'd probably see a few camps form. Some people, especially the scientists, might cling to a logical theory, even if it's a long shot. Like, maybe the sun is still there, but we're the ones who are gone. The idea that some rogue planet or asteroid knocked Earth clean out of its orbit, I mean, it's astronomically unlikely, but it's not technically impossible in the chaos of the universe.
But for a lot of other people, oh yeah, supernatural explanations would absolutely thrive. Was the sun stolen by some hyper-advanced alien civilization? Is this divine judgment? Or hey, maybe our whole reality was just a simulation that finally crashed. You'd see people digging up ancient folklore about a swallowed sun and seeing it not as a myth, but as a prophecy that came true.
Okay, let's jump way, way forward in time now, into the deep future. As years turn into decades and decades into centuries, the planet itself would undergo its final, horrifying transformation. It would become a completely barren ball of ice.
The sequence of events from here is just brutal. First, the oceans freeze solid, from the top down, creating a shell of ice miles thick. Then, it gets so cold, we're talking nearly minus 200 degrees Celsius, that the atmosphere itself collapses. The gases, like nitrogen and oxygen, would literally freeze and fall to the ground like snow. In the end, the only life left would be these tiny little microbes huddled around deep-sea geothermal vents, the last silent witnesses on a world that was once just bursting with life.
And this all leads to what might be the most haunting question of all. It's not about physics anymore, or geology. It's about us. It's about morality. In a world of total darkness, with resources dwindling by the second, could we retain our humanity? Would cooperation even be a thing? Or would pure, raw survival become the only?
And that really gets us to the core of this whole idea, doesn't it? Because this entire thought experiment, yeah, it's impossible, but its real power is that it forces us to look inward. It makes us confront some really fundamental things about who we are.
See, at the end of the day, this isn't really about a star going out. It's about our own minds. It's about our psychology. It reveals this deep, deep need we have for things to be permanent, to be predictable, in a universe that, frankly, offers none of that.
I mean, it's pretty incredible when you really stop and think about it. So much of our civilization, our psychology, our very concept of time itself, it's all built on one simple, reliable thing, the promise of a sunrise. We literally build our entire world on the quiet trust that this one star will just always be there for us.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The sunrise only feels permanent because we've never known anything else. It's only when you dare to imagine that one morning it doesn't show up that you realize just how fragile everything really is. Our world, our confidence, all of it, built on a promise the sky just happens to make every single morning.